There are mornings when you wake up determined to focus on your day, ready to move forward, but suddenly, without warning, his face appears in your mind, like a scene you never intended to replay. You don't know why. He doesn't call, he doesn't send messages. In fact, he's been gone for a long time. And yet it feels as if he's occupied a corner of your mind and refuses to leave. It's not just a memory, it's like an invisible thread quietly vibrating in the background, even without contact, even without his presence. And that's when the questions creep in. Is this just nostalgia playing tricks on me, or does he feel it too? Is the universe sending me a sign? Or am I simply stuck, unable to let go, no matter how much I convince myself that I already have? If you are in this situation right now, listen to me. You're not crazy, you're simply human. And there is a reason for this pull, a reason that has nothing to do with superstition, but everything to do with how your mind, your energy, and your heart interact in a way no one probably ever explained to you. The truth is, what you are experiencing is a mixture of emotional wiring, energetic residue, and unconscious habits your body has grown used to. The good news, you can break this pattern. What feels like a haunting can be transformed into clarity and strength. The raw truth, without sugarcoating, the more you feed a thought, the more power it gains over you. Carl Jung said, "Where your attention goes, your energy flows." So if you think of him every day, even in his absence, you are sending energy into that connection. Maybe not consciously, but automatically. And energy is never neutral. It vibrates, it creates, it attracts. Sometimes when two people have shared an intense bond, this energy exchange lingers, almost like an echo. You may even feel as though he's thinking of you too, and sometimes that's true. But the crucial point is, this feeling does not automatically mean that you're meant to be together. It can also mean that the space he left in you has not yet healed. Many people confuse emotional dependency with intuition. They mistake intensity for destiny. Yet sometimes that intensity is nothing more than your mind searching for the familiar, even if the familiar hurt you. Your brain clings to what it knows because the unknown feels unsafe. That's why you can get stuck on someone who isn't good for you. Not because your body is addicted to him, but to the chemical reactions he triggered in you. Here you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Are you holding on because he's the one? Or because your nervous system hasn't yet learned how to live without the emotional highs and lows? There is a difference between manifesting and holding on. Manifesting is light, conscious, full of trust. Holding on is heavy, repetitive, and driven by fear. One opens new doors, the other locks you in a loop that slowly destroys you from within. Carl Jung pointed out that our thoughts trigger emotions, and those emotions in turn create chemical reactions in the body, a cocktail you can get addicted to without realizing it. This means you might not be attached to him at all, but to the feeling he created in you. And so letting go isn't about forgetting him, but about retraining your mind and body to want something healthier. The first shift: stop asking, "Is he thinking of me?" Start asking, "How do I feel when I think of him?" Does that thought bring you peace and expansion, or does it drain you? Does it give you hope and calm, or does it awaken fear and longing? The universe doesn't respond to your wish list, it responds to your emotional frequency. You cannot attract secure, stable love while vibrating in fear of loss. You cannot attract respect while inwardly begging to be chosen. The law of attraction does not mean that reality must fulfill your fantasy. It means that you become the very thing you want to experience. So start embodying the version of you who already feels loved, respected, and safe, even before anyone else confirms it. Imagine a relationship where you are free to be completely yourself. Don't give it his face, don't give it his name. Just let your body feel what it's like to be loved that way. When your body learns a new emotional language, it stops craving the old one. And as you begin to vibrate at the frequency of self-worth and peace, you will automatically attract people and situations that match it. Sometimes that means he grows with you. Sometimes it means he fades away, making space for someone who truly fits the woman you've become. Either way, you win, because you're no longer dependent on whether he returns to feel whole again. The truth is, most of the time we don't long for the person themselves, but for the way we wanted to be loved by them. Once you realize this, you stop searching for it in him and start creating it within yourself. Then everything changes. Then you stop orbiting someone else and become the sun yourself. And yes, the human question still lingers, but does he think of me too? When you've shared a deep connection with someone, even after months or years of silence, it can feel almost supernatural that he must still sense it. And sometimes, yes, energy really does echo between two people. A song you haven't heard in years suddenly plays, and it feels like it speaks directly to your shared story. That strange tingling arises as if he's right there, even though he's hundreds of miles away. These moments can be real, but sometimes it's only your mind searching the world for proof that something unfinished still exists. The hard truth is, knowing whether he thinks of you changes nothing about your current reality. It won't make him show up, it won't make him call, and it won't turn him into the man you truly need. That's why, instead of chasing signs, you must change the question. Not, is he thinking of me, but how do I feel when I think of him? Does that thought give me strength, or does it drain me? Does it ground me in calm, or leave me empty? Because the universe doesn't give you what you wish for, it mirrors what you are. And if you live in a constant state of uncertainty, always waiting for his validation, you've already handed over your power. Real connection never feels like desperation. It doesn't make you anxious and restless. It doesn't force you to read invisible signs just to know where you stand. Real connection is calm. It is safe. It is clear. With the right person, you never have to beg for clarity. And if you now realize that this pull you feel might have more to do with yourself than with him, then you are already halfway to freedom. Because understanding it logically is one thing. But your heart doesn't work like a light switch. You can't just turn it off. What you can do is redirect it. The key is this: everything you feel, longing, pain, confusion, even desire, is energy. And energy must go somewhere. If you try to bury it, it becomes a blockage. If you direct it, it becomes power. So don't fight against what you feel. Sit with it, name it. Don't make yourself weak just because you still feel something. Feeling deeply is not the problem. What matters is how you handle the feeling, whether it destroys you or transforms you. One of the simplest but most powerful exercises, writing. Take a notebook and write down everything you want to say to him, unfiltered, without editing, without holding back. And don't send it. It's not about him. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of unspoken thoughts. Sometimes you need to see your own truth in black and white in order to finally understand it. The next step, stop investing all of your emotional energy in him. Start investing it in yourself. Ask yourself, what do I truly need right now? What am I longing for that I believe he could give me? What am I projecting onto his absence? These questions are uncomfortable, but that's exactly where your freedom begins. Because as soon as you turn your focus inward, something shifts. You start nourishing your own energy instead of waiting for someone else to fill it. You reclaim your radiance, your calm, your presence. And the stronger you become within yourself, the less you need someone else to complete you. A simple yet powerful practice. Before you fall asleep, imagine a chapter of your life in which you are truly happy. Not because he came back, but because you built a life for yourself so rich, so alive, so fulfilling that love is just the icing on the cake, not the cake itself. See yourself laughing with the right people. See yourself in places that feel safe and light. Let your body already experience what it will feel like. That way, you reprogram your vibration without forcing it, by giving yourself today a taste of the life you want. Does this mean the feelings disappear overnight? No. But it changes the way they move through you. They stop stabbing the same old wound. Instead, they lead you to something greater, than the chapter you keep replaying. And most importantly, don't try to fake good moods every day. That's not strength, that's suppression. You're allowed to have bad days, you're allowed to miss him, but you don't have to live from that place. Feel it, accept it, and then move forward. The power lies in the moving, and here's where it gets exciting. When you reconnect with yourself, your energy shifts effortlessly. You become magnetic again, not in a forced, attention-seeking way, but in a way people can feel the moment you enter a room without saying a word. You don't chase. You don't prove. You simply radiate something rare. Self-possession. That is true attraction. Not games, not excessive attention, not desperately proving your worth. Real seduction happens in the invisible, when your energy says, I know exactly who I am, and I'm not afraid to live it. If you want a simple but powerful piece of advice, protect your energy as if it were your most valuable possession. Because it is. Nothing is more beautiful than a woman who feels at home in her own skin. Second, leave room for mystery. Not everything has to be shared, posted, or explained. The less you give away for free, the more someone has to invest to truly know you. Third, carry presence, not neediness. When you show up light, open, and without desperation, you stand out automatically. Because most people are too busy trying to get something from others. And when it comes to knowing how much he really likes you, forget the words. Watch the actions. If a man wants you, he doesn't leave you in uncertainty. He doesn't disappear for days. He doesn't make you guess where you stand. He moves closer. Because that's what men do when they truly want to be there. Real love doesn't require chasing, it fits. And if it doesn't fit, that's not your loss. It's the universe clearing the way for something better. In the end, everything comes down to one decision. Yours, not his, not fate's, yours. Because the moment you stop waiting for someone else to give you clarity and begin to listen, brutally honestly, to yourself, one thing becomes clear. What you were missing was never him. It was you showing up for yourself again. It was your own gaze turned inward instead of outward. It was your self-worth, quietly waiting for you to reclaim it. And here lies the secret. Nothing is more magnetic, nothing more untouchable than a woman who chooses herself. A woman who can honor a connection without drowning in it. A woman who can love deeply without losing herself. A woman who can miss someone and still move forward with her head held high. This woman doesn't chase anyone. She attracts attention. She doesn't wait to be chosen. She chooses. She doesn't hope to be seen. She shines so brightly that the right people cannot help but see her. When you decide to choose yourself, the entire frequency of your life shifts. People who don't match your energy drift away on their own. Not because you push them out, but because they cannot withstand the level at which you now live. Heavy situations lose their grip. The weight of the past begins to dissolve, not because you forgot, but because something stronger has taken its place. Your presence, your awareness, your decision to write a new story. And the most liberating truth, you don't need proof that the right love is coming. You don't need a cosmic sign. You don't need to scroll through his social media. All you need is one clear decision to never abandon yourself again. Because every time you honor your own feelings, every time you survive a hard day without betraying yourself, every time you keep moving forward, even when it's tempting to go back, you create space for something real to enter your life. And if he truly is meant to be part of your story, he will return. But not because you sit quietly waiting for the door to open, rather because you have moved forward so authentically and decisively that the universe had no choice but to bring things back into alignment. And if it isn't him, then it will be someone who sees you the first time around. Someone already walking at your pace, breathing in your rhythm, reflecting the devotion you have learned to give yourself. Because in truth, it was never about him. It was always about you. Because when you honor yourself, everything in your reality shifts. Your relationships, your environment, your way of moving through the world. And You finally see the truth. You were never waiting for someone to save you. You were always waiting to save yourself. And once you arrive at that point, a quiet confidence spreads within you. You no longer fear being alone because you're not alone. You have yourself in a way you never had before. And when you live like this, you stop attracting people who feed on your insecurities. Instead, you draw in people who are inspired by your wholeness. The real magic is not in controlling others. It lies in becoming so complete, so strong within yourself that only energies matching your depth can come near you. That is true freedom. Not needing someone to survive, but openly sharing your life with someone who has earned the place beside you. Not holding on out of fear, but choosing out of strength. Not letting your worth fluctuate depending on someone else's attention, but keeping it steady, because it belongs to you, not to him. So if you find yourself lying awake at night, thinking of him, do this. Stop asking why he isn't here. Start asking why you are giving so much space in your mind to someone who doesn't show up. And then, with as much compassion for yourself as possible, begin to call that energy back to where it belongs, to you, because your life isn't waiting for him to return. Your life is happening right now. Every single day that you choose yourself is a day you become stronger, clearer, and more magnetic to the kind of love that truly lasts. And that's when the game changes, because once you feel your worth, not just in your head, but in your bones, you stop running, you stop doubting, and you start living in a way that makes the wrong people fade away and the right ones appear effortlessly. This is not a dream, not a cliche. It happens when you stop using your heart as a waiting room for someone else's indecision and instead make it a home for your own clarity. The truth is, you are not hard to love. You just gave your love to people who weren't ready to hold it. And when you stop trying to convince someone to choose you, you realize they were never the point. The point was always you. Picture this. Months from now, you walk into a room, sunlight falling on your skin, a soft laugh resting in your chest. You feel free, not because life is perfect, but because you no longer carry the weight of his absence like a chain around your neck. You're not searching for him. You're not measuring your worth by whether he reaches out. You are living, fully, completely. And if by some coincidence he happens to be there, and your eyes meet, you feel no pull in your stomach, you feel calm, you know you have already outgrown the version of yourself who thought she couldn't breathe without him. You have rebuilt yourself in silence. You have already proven that your life is not a waiting room. This is the real turning point. When you finally stop searching for the closure you thought only he could give, you create a life that closes the chapter on its own, because no one tells you this. Sometimes closure is simply the morning you realize you haven't thought of him in months, and it feels normal. Sometimes it's an evening where you laugh so hard you forget his voice. Sometimes it's looking in the mirror and thinking, damn, I'm proud of her. And in that space, where your happiness comes from within, you become untouchable. Not because you built walls, but because you've grown roots. When you live like that, love stops being a chase and becomes an invitation. You no longer try to convince anyone of your worth. You embody it. And the right people, the right love, the right opportunities, they find you naturally. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This right here is the moment you make it conscious. This is where you take the wheel back, away from old patterns, old dependencies, old echoes. This is where you refuse to live your life as a replay of a story you already know. So the next time his face pops into your thoughts, don't panic, don't spiral. Just ask yourself, what do I want to feel right now? And how can I give that to myself without waiting on anyone else? Because every time you do that, you reprogram your energy, you rewrite the story, you step deeper into the version of you who doesn't just attract love, but radiates it naturally, without begging, without performing, without losing yourself. And here is the secret no one believes until they experience it. The moment you stop centering someone who doesn't show up, you begin to center yourself. And when you center yourself, your entire reality shifts. Not in a wish it and it happens sense, but in a very real way. Your choices, your boundaries, your presence automatically filter out those who don't belong. So if he comes back, you decide whether he fits into the life you've built, not the other way around. And if he doesn't, you'll already be standing in a life so rich, so aligned, that his absence doesn't feel like loss at all. This is your turning point. This is the moment the chapter changes, the moment you stop waiting to be saved and realize you've been holding the pen all along. And when you live from that truth, when you walk through the world with that self-respect, something extraordinary happens. You stop fearing the silence because you know that you yourself are the loudest, brightest sound in your life. That's not ego, that's freedom. And freedom, my love, looks damn good on you.